Alrighty, I just wanted to go over some of the things that I might have missed in that previous video that I really enjoyed about making this website. It'll be a little more in-depth into each of the things that I struggle with and each of the things that I really enjoyed. One of the first things that you'll notice when you hop on the website is that your cursor changes to purple. And the reason for that is because it's a little difficult to see that white cursor on these cards here. And we've got quite a few different colors, right? So I wanted a cursor that would stand out on all those, so I made it a big bright purple cursor, and I really liked that feature. Another feature that you might see, we've got our duet game mode here. If we try to join a game that doesn't exist, it'll give us a prompt and say, hey, we weren't able to join that game, we weren't able to create it, but don't worry, you can either look at the list of current games that are out there, or you can type any game 0 through 99 and play that. So we could go to current games, and we could join one of those, or we can join a game by clicking 0, right? And so it'll give that prompt if you try to make a new game, even if you try to make a new game and it wasn't able to create it, if it wasn't able to latch onto that back end there, it would give us that same prompt there. Um, Another thing is this is that harder game mode called Duet, right? And it's got a few different things in this game mode. There's a counter. You have a list of clocks and a list of standees, and that will slowly decrease as you're going throughout the game. So I made this counter class that we're able to use that you might not have seen in that other version. Another thing that's very difficult about this version is that there is 3 different solutions really. So there's a parent solution here, and it's got 15 green cards, 1 black, and 9 yellow. But depending on which player you are, if you're the first player or the second player, you're going to be looking at a different solution. So first player would be looking at this card here, right? And I can't remember what the black one is. I think it was Jupiter, right, in the parent solution. And then player 2 will be looking at this solution, right? So both are black. Both are Jupiter's black for both players. But in this case, Limousine and Palm, they were green and yellow for the other player. So the way this one works is there's 15 green cards. Player 1 has sees 9 of them, and player 2 sees 9 of them, and there's an overlap of 3 cards there. So you can see there's, I think, Bark Bed and Game, Bark Bed and one another are an overlap. And then there's a black card that should be green for player 2. So Jupiter is, or Amazon is probably going to be, so Amazon's yellow, and then Cloak was green for player 2, but it's black for player 1. So a little bit of logic there. You have to climb up the array on one side and climb down on the other side to actually get those cards. And then as you play the game, you have to actually you have to select a player to be able to click those cards. So if I'm player 1, I would be looking at the solution 1, and player 2 would click on player 2, and they'd be looking at solution 2. And then I would be clicking cards, right? And I think Limousine is going to be black for me, right? Because on their solution, it's black. So if I were to guess Limousine, we would lose as a collective. Or if I were to guess Palm, we would lose as a collective. But if I were to guess Bark, then I'd get a green. We'd get a green one. And if I were to choose, if I guessed Bed, on hers it's yellow. On, let's see, Duck. Okay. If I were to guess Duck, that would be yellow according to me, right? But if they were to click it as player 2, then they would see green. Another thing with that, you can't click cards until you select a player, right? It gives you a prompt, choose player. That's one of those just small things I realized after I had kind of finished up with the code, just sharing with friends, and they were saying some of the things that could be improved, right? Some of those small details that you don't notice. Let's see. I think that's mostly it for everything. I have it organized into, if we're looking at the code a little bit here, we've got, I really like this utilities, just a bunch of functions that might be used throughout. And then we've got classes for different things like the counter class. We've got a class for current games. We've got a class for the color change. So that's how we have that organized. And then The CSS, let's see. I've got, that's another thing, the different sizes for mobile. If we go to new game, so as you get smaller, we drop into tablet mode here, where kind of larger words, since you're on a tablet, you can, or kind of smaller words, you'll be able to see them on the tablet, but larger cards there that have all that even space. That's nice. And then we can drop to phone mode there, a little bigger fonts, bigger lettering. And I really like that for the Duet game mode, because in Duet, it's mostly a mobile game. You'll be really just playing on that phone, and you'll be able to see both the cards and the solution from that mobile standpoint, which I really like. Another small thing is the codenames word up here just changes every time. So it'll be a random color each time, which I really like. Just the small details, like clicking on this field will change it to red there. And I think that's just about everything. I enjoyed working on the code. Let's see, I've got a README with some of the struggles that I had. Let's see. So, yeah, I just had some struggles deploying to Netlify in the beginning. Gotta have those environment variables set. Oh yeah, the since it's kind of my first time working with those with Vi. Headphone dies every once in a while. I hadn't realized that they needed to actually be named index in each of those different folders. So I was having troubles storing those variables and stuff. One thing that I don't like too much is that I hadn't originally planned on making that duet mode. So some of the code wasn't just set up for the way that duet needed to happen. So I just took a lot of that code and put it into a separate folder called duet, and then basically started making a whole nother website inside a folder inside there. Not too happy with that part. I might have to change it and pull some of those files out that are acceptable. I think that's pretty much it though. Really enjoyed the project, really enjoyed working on it. Y'all have a good one.